All right, we'll get back to that story with Demola. Thousands of people have been displaced from 60 communities across 3 local government areas of Nasarawa State as a result of flood disaster. It was gathered that farmlands and crops have also been destroyed by the flood. Residents of the affected communities are now seeking shelter from neighboring communities that are yet to be affected. The affected local government areas are Toto, Nasarawa, and Doma. Confirming the incident, the Executive Secretary of the Nasarawa State Emergency Management Agency, NASEMA, Zakaria Lumaga, said the villages were submerged by water overflowing from River Benue and Kogi. And more floods are expected in the country due to the opening of a dam in Cameroon. The Executive Director of Emergency and Risk Alert Initiative, Olaji Igbegbenro, joins us via Skype to talk about this. Many thanks to you, Olaji Igbegbenro, for joining us on this hour. Every year we hear about floods in the country. There's always flood alert. We see these same areas being affected and new areas as well. What are the factors responsible for this?
That tells you how serious we are about disaster risk reduction. Come to think of it, should our safety even depend on the opening of Lado Dam? It's a perennial disaster. You know that this disaster will surely come. What have we done in order to accommodate more volumes of water in our river channels, particularly River Benue? Up to have been dredged, knowing fully that we should not depend on whether Lado Dam is opened or not before we manage our disaster risk. If, as we have envisaged over the years, every year we continue to lose economically, we continue to lose in terms of number of deaths and property destroyed by flood. And government keep on doing nothing about risk reduction. It's not about responding to disaster. It's not about after disaster has occurred, you respond to that. That is not that. The real work is in the area of disaster risk reduction. In order to effectively do this, you must accommodate the enormous volume of waters that follow rainfall. And there's no way you can do this without dredging your own rivers. There's no way you can do this without building a buffer dam that will accommodate excess rain.
Beyond just issues around flooding, there's also now the issue of, like you just mentioned, opening of dams. We saw that in Ogun State where the dam was opened and then it affected Lagos and Ogun. We saw that in Adamawa State, and now Cameroon is saying they are going to open their dams. What kind of agreement can the federal government, especially with that of Cameroon, what kind of agreement can the federal government have with Cameroon to ensure that Nigerians are not affected?
Look, I have said it. The first lesson about disaster management is that your safety should not depend on the other person. What are the plans, the national plans you have? It's not about fire brigade issues. We should not be depending on whether they open their dam in Cameroon or not. What can be done now is that even though, because those people are going to look at their larger national interests, if they don't open their water to release the volume of waters in the dam, it's going to affect them.
All right, let me then pose the question to you, Mr. Olaji Igbe, because now you are talking about preventive measures, being proactive. What preventive measures can the federal government take against next year so we do not have this kind of situation all over again?
Immediately after this disaster now, we should immediately commence dredging of River Benue, particularly, including River Niger, because Niger State has been affected and they are gravely impacted too. And beyond that, we should equally build, in order to build dam to accommodate more volumes of water. We are talking of course, even what is happening in the Kanji Dam. It has not been touched for several years now. Why don't you expand the dam to accommodate more volumes of water, so that very insignificant waters will spill over? So those are the things that federal government.
All right, I'm afraid we do have to leave it there. Many thanks to you,